Good evening, everybody. Steve here from Charlie Noise. Just hope that I find you well on the night leading into the Easter long weekend here. I just wanted to have a quick talk about a couple of reserve list cards that, given the state of Premodern and the meta involved in that, that I think there's a couple of cards that are potentially a little bit underpriced and undervalued at the moment. And I just wanted to sort of draw some people's attention to them and see if they, if anybody's got any sort of interest, they can act on that, like I have been doing myself. Now, for anybody that is not familiar, Premodern is a sort of well, I don't know how long the game mode or game type itself has been around for, but it's only recently started to find widespread adoption among the player base. And apparently, I mean, I don't play it myself, but apparently the meta is quite diverse, and it is a fairly fun game mode. And so it really shouldn't come as any sort of surprise that that it's kind of taken off. Now, it incorporates Magic the Gathering sets, I think from 1995 through 2003, and a good chunk of those sets that are incorporated in that time span contain certain cards that are on what's called the Reserved List. And for any of you guys that don't know, Reserved List was a set or a series of cards that WotC have promised that they will never reprint. I think after Chronicles and 4th edition came out, after the initial sort of Alpha Beta Unlimited revised run, and then the Four Horsemen sets, a lot of people had decks and cards that contained a fair amount of secondary market value, and then when Chronicles and 4th edition came out, a lot of those cards got reprinted, and they got reprinted in huge numbers that just absolutely sort of squashed the values of those individual cards down to nothing. So in response to the uproar related to that, WotC have sort of created this list of 572 cards that for all intents and purposes shan't be reprinted. Now, that's with a few caveats here and there. They have been printed in specialty sets, like the FTV Relics has quite, well, a couple of them. And then there was the Collector Edition, International Collector Edition, which they also promised never to reprint, and then they went ahead and did that for Magic 30 a couple of years back. And I think that burned them. So I think we're fairly safe in saying that it's not likely to happen again, but take that with a pinch of salt. They could turn around and reprint them all tomorrow, because none of this is legally binding. This is a verbal communique that was put out, promise, that they have essentially stuck to. Now, the reason I say that is because some of the cards that I wanted to talk about today, we're doing a little bit of a screen clicker kind of video here. There's three specific cards I want to talk about, and all three of them are reserve list cards. But they are also featuring in Premodern, and a lot of the cards that have found homes in Premodern decks have become quite expensive, particularly the reserve list cards, because outside of Premodern, sorry, excuse my hand in the way of my face there, outside of Premodern, people collect the reserve list. People like myself collect the reserve list regardless. Like I said before, I don't play Premodern, but I have a fairly extensive reserve list collection, and it's just something that I like to obtain and hold and collect and look at and enjoy. So I have a couple of these cards already, but I feel like there's an opportunity here where while a lot of the cards that are finding homes have taken off in price, these ones seem to have missed the boat a little bit, and I think it's just a matter of time before the market realizes and they go ahead and catch up. So let me just switch over to desktop here. Second, where do we want to start? Sorry, excuse me. So we'll go to desktop. I'm a bit sniffly today as well. So for anybody who's looking for a definitive list of the reserve list, this is mtgstocks.com. You can find it if you go to analytics. Just give you a little drop-down list, drop-down menu which has handy lists on it. Click on that and then head down to reserve list, and then you can sort by set. At least you would think you'd be able to if that wanted to load in. There we go, reload. So let's say all the cards that we were looking at today are, well, let's have a look. A couple of them from Urza's Saga. So, Urza's Destiny. So we'll go to that one first. Then we'll look. So as you can see here, and then you can sort by price or by alphabetical or by whatever else that you wanted to look at. So now, as I was saying about reprints earlier, they have made a promise not to reprint these, but with the exception of a couple of specific situations, and one of those situations is the judge promos. So WotC don't pay their judges, so whenever there's a tournament or a competition, the judges, it's essentially a voluntary position, but then they get a reward at the end in the form of a judge promo, which is usually a sort of like a different art or a different sort of print style of a specific card. And they have done that with a couple of these reserve list cards. And this is the list here. So as you can see, you've got the Gaia's Cradle. There's the only place you can get Gaia's Cradle in foil. Wheel of Fortune with unique art. Intuition, Survival of the Fittest also with unique art. And then the rest are just basically the bog standard. Throring Glaciers is unique art as well. Sorry, excuse me there. So as you can see here, if you have a look over here, the price on these cards is absolutely astronomical. Gaia's Cradle, obviously take this with a pinch of salt. I think CK are selling this for about, I think about 6,000 maybe. You know, we can find this out easily enough. Here we go. Let's go and have a look at Gaia's Cradle, and then it should show us. So Judge Foil, okay, sorry. 7.8, I was a little bit off, but yeah. A lot, ultimately. But yeah, hang on, actually, let's just go back into that. So I think this is a good way of sort of illustrating the point that I'm trying to make here, is that these judge promo, like DCI judge promo foils, tend to hold a much higher value, a higher price point than the base card itself. So, for example, Yawgmoth's Will, here we go. So, base version of this, $300, whereas the Judge promo is $950. So, you're looking at 3 and a bit times as much. Intuition's another good one, as you can see here. So, base version is $380, whereas the Judge foil, $1,900 near mint. And I don't know, let's just do Survival of the Fittest. You'll find the same, you know, $450 for the base copy, which is, you know, that's plenty. But then the Judge promo, $2,300. So significant multipliers on all of these cards when you're going from the base version of the card to the Judge foil. Now, what is happening currently, and what I managed to sort of get in on before it actually started to happen, is the Morphling. There's been a little bit of a buyout on this, most likely related to Premodern, although this card specifically doesn't see a lot of Premodern play. I think it is in the sideboard in certain sort of mono blue Stiflenaught decks, but that's about all, and not in many of them either. So you've got your base version at $35, which is out of stock, and then your Judge foil version is $60, which is also out of stock. Now, if I go up here to MTG Goldfish, here's our base version. It's got our CK pricing here, $33, $34. And then because it's gone out of stock in CK, people are buying it off the secondary market, and the market price of this card has gone up. And that is also, and to a much greater degree, happening with the Judge promo. So what did we say that was before? 60? versus we're now, what, 5 times that. And this price is sort of headed to the moon. So we'll say I managed to pick up a couple of these before they started to move. There you go. These arrived in the post yesterday. But on top of that as well, I thought was interesting is that while the Morphling is headed up, there is one other card that has a DCI Judge promo that doesn't seem to be following the same pattern yet. And that card is the Deranged Hermit. So, Deranged Hermit, big in Squirrel decks. Its price spikes tend to be cyclical every time WotC or Magic release a Squirrel Commander. This card gets bought up either in anticipation of people wanting it, or it gets bought up for the creation of decks, and then the price settles again over time. But as you can see here, near mint version of the Deranged Hermit from CK is sitting at $100 US. And then the Judge promo is at $140. Now, this is still in stock to a degree. But then if we go up to MTG Goldfish, you find that this card has not moved in the same way that Morphling or any of the other Judge promos have. I think it's just a matter of time, because this card is seeing play in Premodern. As you can see here, we've got Cradle Control. That is, where is he? Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, here we go. 3 Deranged Hermits in this kit. It's seeing Premodern Elves, basically. Any green Premodern Elf deck will contain at least 1 copy of this card, and often several. And it's gonna create a lot of buying pressure on this card, and there's just not the copies there available to it. So I think it's just a matter of time before the base price starts to climb, and then following that, like always happens, because once people have started making their decks and they start blinging it out, or the base version becomes unavailable, that the foil version or alternate versions are going to head up as well. And that is without even touching on the fact that Morphling doesn't see any play in Commander as far as I'm aware. Whereas the Deranged Hermit, like I said, anytime there's a Squirrel deck, it finds favour with the player base with Commander as well. Now, this card's been spoiled for the Marvel set that is coming out, the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, red-green, Squirrel-related Commander, and this card's just going to slot straight in there. So I managed to pick this up for 140 Australian dollars, and they are still around, and I don't really understand why. I think this should be $350. I don't really see any reason why it should still be as cheap as it is. When you compare it to a lot of the other cards on this DCI promo list, I mean, it should be more expensive than Thawing Glaciers. It should be more expensive than Morphling. And it... I mean, it might even be more expensive than Yawgmoth's Will. I mean, this isn't... I don't think this is legal anywhere, is it? Don't quote me. I could be wrong on that. But yeah... if Morphling's $315, this should be $400, $450, $500. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. And then to that point as well, Phyrexian Dreadnought should be a hell of a lot more than $500 if this is seeing as much play and the base version of this is expensive as it is. I think the base version is about $500 itself, isn't it? Let's just have a quick look. Sorry, my nose is very blocked tonight. I'm having trouble talking and breathing at the same time. 320 and then 650. Okay. Well, I mean, this is probably still undervalued as well. I mean, this has probably got room to run another $300 or $400 on top of where it currently is too. Anyway, that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about, specifically Morphling, if there's still copies of that around, because I think the people that I bought this from hadn't quite realised that the price was moving, so I managed to sort of sweep in and grab it before it ran out, or it got taken down, I'm not sure which. And then the Deranged Hermit, just for whatever reason, hasn't moved. So these are still available. Jump onto eBay, jump onto TCG Player. And you should be able to just get a copy of this DCI promo, Deranged Hermit. And then you can sit back and watch it increase in value, because I'm almost certain that it will. And then one last thing that I wanted to touch on as well, speaking of Premodern and also speaking of Stiflenaut like I did earlier, one last card that I wanted to talk about was Powder Keg. Now this sees play in Premodern. It was very, very heavily bought up not that long ago. Just go over to TG Goldfish and have a little look at the graph. Powder Keg. So baseline version of Powder Keg here. As you can see here, CK have got it listed at $95. Now, once upon a time, this card was not worth very much at all. My copies of it, I was paying, I think, less than 15 or 20, I think. Having said that, I bought mine before COVID even. So, those prices are well behind us. But yeah, I mean, not that long ago, it was a $10 card. A little bit of a bump here, and then Premodern really took off around the release of Spider-Man, because I think Spider-Man just left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and people looking for other things to spend their money on, and things to, spend their time on, ultimately. But I did have this open before. Here we go. This is... Oh, no. Sorry. We'll go back. Urza's Destiny. Now, this isn't a DCI promo, this card. But what it is... it did have a player rewards promo, so I'm not sure as far as like the sheer print numbers or anything, but base version of Powder Keg and the DCI promo version of Powder Keg share the same price, and I'm not sure they necessarily should. There's my Powder Keg DCI promo. So, I mean, that's food for thought, but I can't say with certainty that belongs any higher or lower. Based that it's not a judge promo but a player promo instead. So who knows, maybe there's tons of them out there, I'm not really sure. But what I am sure of is if you have a look at the price listings for CK for Urza's Destiny, that the base version of Powder Keg ties in price with Yavimaya Hollow at $95 and is equal third expensive card in the set. Now, if you go over to the set foils for this set, rightly probably Metalworker at the very top at $2,500, followed by Replenish, which is also seeing a hell of a lot of play at $1,200, and then you've got Yavimaya Hollow. And based on what we saw last screen, you would expect that the next card on the list is going to be Powder Keg. But it isn't. It is way down the list, behind Opalescence. Here we go, out of stock, rightly, but at $400. If this takes its rightful spot in fourth, or sort of equal third on this list, it's an $850 card. Like, it's got to catch up by more than twice. So, I'm not here sucking eggs. I do have a copy of it. But I think if you can get online and find a copy of it, and you've got that extra money lying around and you're looking for something to do with it, a foil copy of Powder Keg is not the worst place to put your money. I honestly think that the market just hasn't woken up to it yet. And that one day in the not horribly distant future, that will be an $800 card. Anyway, food for thought. I've been downloading Resident Evil 7 on Game Pass, and that has finally finished downloading this evening. So I am going to leave you guys to it, and I'm going to go and play that in a darkened, quiet house. So I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or if I'm a little bit nervous. We'll see. Anyway, if you've got any input, any thoughts that you'd like to share, please comment down below, and feel free to like and subscribe. That would really help me out. outside of that, thank you very much for your time, and enjoy your long weekend with your family or traveling or whatever it is that you're planning on doing. Anyway, I will catch you all next time. Bye-bye.